the next 3 slides deal with Pepse, and I'm just going to skip past those by asking you to just maybe read them quickly as I'm chatting to you about this. But under Pepse's, I think Jerry Serafino, a psychologist out of Roswell, New Mexico, experienced psychologist, police psychologist who wrote a chapter in Peter Weiss's edited book, and on page 52 he writes this: if asked to perform a Pepse, immediately inform the executive of the lack of a good research basis and other reservations and limitations, unquote. He goes on to say, but if you're going to do one, make sure you have a job analysis, make sure that you're clear about the standards for qualifying or disqualifying a person in that position, make sure you understand the position, understand your role in it, blah, 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 and get some good advice if you're going to do it. But his first counsel is, do you really have the research evidence to support that we know what we're doing in predicting who makes a good SWAT officer versus who doesn't? Yes?
But that's not always what's going on. At least in the region that I operate in, oftentimes the SWAT teams are comprised from officers of other departments, and they bring them together and make a SWAT team. Well, as you well know, not everybody's standards are the same from one department to the next. So the department that I'm working for says, we want you to do psych eval on this guy because he's coming from XYZ department. And there's been a little bit of history sometimes when departments try to hand off problem children. So.
No, I understand why you may do that.
Yeah.
Understand, though, whether or not, so I have to repeat the question. So in some agencies, such as the one that Dr. Jordan just described, there are times where you're asked to do an evaluation because the surrounding agencies, all participating in a multi-agency specialty team, may have either no psychological evaluation at all or standards that are quite different from your own, and the chief, who is the organizing or coordinating agency, wants to make sure that these yahoos all meet a common psychological standard. I understand that. And there may be reason for doing it in those circumstances. You certainly want to discuss what's the liability implication when you say this person doesn't meet minimum qualification standards and they're a police officer with another agency, or whether or not you have violated the ADA's prohibition against a compulsory medical examination in the absence of the threshold being met. I would argue that one, personally. I would say I don't see how I can do a compulsory psychological evaluation simply on the basis of this motivation, which may sound really good, it may be a good one, but the ADA doesn't permit that, as I read it. I don't know how you could justify doing that evaluation. There's no provision under the ADA for trying to catch up and make sure everybody has the same psychological evaluation. The same might be true today. You might have people in your own agency who were evaluated on a different standard or who were never psychologically evaluated at all. The law doesn't permit you to catch up by giving an examination to all of them. So I still think you're going to have to pass the ADA threshold test. If you go to aele.org, that's Wayne Schmidt's, I don't know what the AELE stands for, but it's Wayne Schmidt's legal reference site. He has a number of resources available, and among them are some articles for police psychologists. And there is a legal analysis that I wrote with Wayne and a judge, an ADA judge, as the reviewers, pertaining to the ADA issues in a Pepse. So I think by reading that, you'll have a better understanding of what at least my reservations would be about that.
And really quickly, what would consist of a Pepse we decide to do it?
Pardon me?
What consists of a Pepse? What kind of testing?
Well, the question is what kind of testing is involved in a Pepse? It's very, very broad. Pepse is just a general concept of an evaluation of an incumbent employee for purposes of determining qualification to be a participant on a specialty team or to fill a specialty function. So it could be a person who wants to join SWAT, it could be a person who wants to join the hostage negotiation team, K-9, undercover, any specialty evaluation. And they're quite variable. Psychologists use very, very different methods. And I don't I don't want to be sound flippant. I'm not denying the importance of the issues that you described. I just think that yes, all that's true, and there's another side that involves both some compelling liability questions as well as potential that you're violating some other statutory provisions.